Today's video is on credit card basics. We're going to talk about what a credit card is, how best to use a credit card to improve your credit score, and what to look out for when opening a new credit card. There's four types of cards. The credit card is actually a loan account that we're going to open up at a bank, and we're able to borrow against the line amount. A debit card is connected to our checking account. Every time we make purchase on the debit card, it will deduct that amount of the purchase from our checking account. We can only spend up to the amount we have in our checking account. A prepaid card allows us to load cash onto a credit card and then spend the amount that we've loaded. A prepaid card allows us to reload to the card as many times as we want. But be careful because there's a lot of fees associated with prepaid cards, such as monthly fees or an annual fee, reload fees, inactivity fees. So be careful when opening a prepaid card. A gift card operates a lot like a prepaid card. It rarely has fees, but generally they're one and done, meaning once I load funds onto my gift card and I spend all the money, the card is used up and it's time to discard the card. A couple key terms to remember when talking about credit cards. One is the issuing bank. This is the bank that we applied for our credit card at and issued our credit card. Think of Bank of America, US Bank, Citibank, Chase Bank, etc. The credit card product, that's the specific product that we opened at the issuing bank. So, as an example, Chase Bank offers lots of different credit cards, Sapphire being one of them. The credit card product is what brings us the features and the fees and the interest rates associated with the credit card that we want. And then there's the network. There's four major networks in the United States: Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and Discover. All three of these make up the credit card product we want to open. The most important things to look out for when opening a credit card. First is the annual fee. These can range anywhere from $0 to $350. I always recommend people open a credit card with no annual fee. Very rarely do the benefits of the card outweigh the annual fee. Late payment fees. If you ever pay your credit card late, even 1 day late, you will incur a late fee. These range anywhere from $30 to $40 each time you pay late. Interest rate, or APR, which stands for annual percentage rate. This is the amount of the interest rate your bank will charge you if you ever carry a balance on your credit card. These are ranging today between 25 and 35%. Some credit cards as high as 39%. Credit cards are a very expensive way to borrow money from a bank. So I'll never recommend carrying a balance on a credit card. Foreign transaction fee. If you plan to travel outside the United States, some banks charge a foreign transaction fee, typically 1 to 3% of the amount of each transaction you make outside of the country in which your credit card was issued. So before you travel, check to see if your credit card charges a foreign transaction fee. Cash advance fee. I never recommend anybody advance cash from their credit card. If you do, you can expect to incur fees of 1 to 3% with a minimum of maybe $5 or $10 each time you advance cash on your credit card. Balance transfer fee. These sound very enticing. You might get solicitations in the mail to transfer an existing balance at a high interest rate from one credit card to another credit card. But there always is going to be a balance transfer fee. In addition to the interest you're going to incur from the day the transfer happens, they'll charge you a fee of 1 to 3% of the amount you transfer, in some cases as high as 5%. Some other very important terms to understand about your new credit card: statement cycles, grace periods, and payment due dates. The statement cycle is the period of time, typically 30 days, in which all transactions incurred during the statement cycle, those are the transactions that will need to be paid in full or due on the payment due date. The payment due date is typically 20 to 25 days after the end of the statement cycle. We call this the grace period. During this period of time, if you pay your balance in full, then you won't incur any finance charges. If you don't pay your payment in full, then you will incur finance charges back to the start of the statement cycle. If you don't pay a payment by the due date, then you'll incur a late fee, as we discussed earlier. When you're approved for a credit card, you're going to be issued a credit line. This is the maximum amount you can borrow against. The minimum credit lines banks issue are $200. The maximums are typically $30,000 to $35,000 for people with really high income and really good credit. The average credit lines issued by banks today are between $2,000 and $6,000. Cash advance limit, we talked about cash advances earlier. Your cash advance limit is always going to be less than your credit line. So if you get issued a credit card with a $3,000 line of credit, don't expect to be able to withdraw $3,000 from an ATM machine. Cash advance limits are typically $200, $500, maybe $1,000, but they're always less than your credit line. Credit line increases. From time to time, your bank will solicit you to increase your credit line. This is typically a good idea, assuming your income can handle it. Your credit score will be impacted if your balance is close to your credit line limit. So let's say you were issued a $3,000 line of credit. If you're carrying a balance of $2,800 or $2,900 month after month, that will negatively impact your credit score. So the best thing to do in that situation is to request a credit line increase from your bank. Let's sum up my most important tips for managing your credit card to improve your credit score. One, avoid annual fees. These are costly and rarely outweigh the benefits your credit card comes with. Second, never pay a late fee. To avoid paying late fees, very simply set up auto payments from your checking account. So at least your minimum monthly payment will be made from your checking account. Again, we want to avoid ever carrying a balance. So even though you might set up an auto payment from your checking account to pay the minimum monthly fee, you will go ahead and pay the entire balance each month to avoid carrying a balance and getting charged interest. Watch for merchant fees. Today, we're seeing more and more retail stores charge an additional fee for anybody who makes a payment using a credit card. This is really bad news for us that love credit cards. So if the fee is high, I would recommend using cash or using your debit card at those retail stores, or frankly, avoid those retail stores. Lastly, don't advance cash. It's very expensive. You will be charged fees. You will get no grace period on the occurrence of interest. So avoid cash advances. I hope you enjoyed this video on credit card basics. I've got a total of 3 videos in my credit card series. The next one I would recommend you all watch is how many credit cards should I have? If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel. I've got a lot more tips coming out for everything consumer finance. Like the video and add your comment. I will answer all your questions regarding credit cards. Thank you very much.